Welcome to Real Estate Insight. For a while now, and especially throughout the last decade, climate change has not only become a rising concern for the United States, but most significantly has caused severe devastation to neighborhoods and cities across the world. Lest we forget the numerous wildfires that have plagued California, the floods that leave places like New Jersey and Florida most vulnerable, and the recent snowstorms that left many in Texas without electricity and some with destroyed homes. Most of these places are high-density areas, so with all of this real estate present, I want to find out today if my two guests think these property values in these areas will begin to decrease gradually into the near future. Steve and Dorothy, welcome to the show. Is this something that current agents, buyers, and sellers need to worry about in the near future? Should we start preparing for anything if these prices do begin to decrease due to climate change?
You know, Isaiah, I grew up in a place where there was floods, fires, earthquakes, and high surf. My parents weren't going anywhere. In fact, we paid more to live there in Santa Cruz than anywhere, I think, in the country at the time. So from my sight, I just don't see people moving because of those items. It just really is kind of out of touch. The climate really hasn't changed so much that it made people think so much about moving because of it. Now, if you're talking about tornadoes and hurricanes and those types of weather situations like Katrina rolling through, that might get somebody to move where their whole house actually disappears. But as far as like a flood, we just throw in some more drains. A fire, we break the firewall with 100 feet around us. And, you know, high surf, we stay away from the beach at that point in time. So I'm not seeing people move because of those items right now.
At first, I want to agree with you, Steve, but when you think about it, this weather change is a lot like gaining weight. Okay, weeks go by, 1 pound, 2 pounds. Next thing you know, you're 20 pounds up. And then you realize that's kind of what's going on with the climate change. It is changing every year. 1 degree Celsius raise a year. The sea level has raised 9 inches in the last century. This is all facts. So I'm concerned about commercial real estate. You know, increased temperatures, increased air conditioning costs, longer heat waves through the summer into September, more devastation, more hurricanes. We need greater construction, sturdier construction. I'm seeing prices go up.
Insurance as well. I think insurance costs more.
Well, you certainly bring up a good point, Dorothy, in relation to commercial real estate and climate change. It's funny you mention AC. These are all costs that we have to worry about when we're building an industrial space or commercial plant, or regardless of what it is. If we have to increase our costs in other areas, it's going to reduce our profit margins, or we're going to have to make those reductions in other aspects of our business. You also have to worry about natural disasters, such as here in California, wildfires. Steve, I want to know, you mentioned insurance. If these wildfires continue to happen as they have been, or even get worse, is there eventually going to be a breaking point where people just say, you know what, I'm moving my business, I'm moving my family, my house out of California? And do we have to worry about this happening in the near future?
You know, the fires are an interesting topic. Last year we had a huge fire season in California. I know that the governor is doing some things to mitigate that. I think they just kind of let their eye off the ball on that particular fact. They didn't clean forests like they should have, in my opinion. I think they just, like I said, weren't thinking about it. And so when it did happen, we did gain that 20 pounds all of a sudden, to paraphrase Dorothy's comments there. But I would have to say again, people are resilient. They just figure out a way to get around it, like my parents did. You know, we bought more insurance for earthquake. We mitigated the fires with, you know, making sure we had a fire barrier. We, you know, didn't go to the beach on those days. We didn't have a beachfront home, so we weren't so concerned about it. So yeah, people might move away from some areas and they might reconsider building out in the forest. But for the most part, I think people will stay put for now.
Thank you, Steve, and thank you, Dorothy. Always a pleasure having you both on the show. I think it comes down to a personal preference. At the end of the day, it's where do you want to live? What price are you willing to pay? What weather do you want to live in? If you're looking for a commercial investment, where are you looking to purchase that property? And for how much money are you willing to pay? What liabilities are you willing to take when it comes down to weather and other factors that you have to take into consideration? In California, I know it's one of the only places where you can actually surf and snowboard in the same day. So we certainly pay a weather tax. Thank you for watching Real Estate Insight, and we'll see you next time.